Oh, I know what I'll do.
Okay, we're good. Well, hey everybody, and welcome to Addicted to Loot, episode 58, with yours truly, Atomic Zero, aka Brian, and Tomality, aka Bob. So, welcome to Addicted to Loot.
Identity crisis.
We are upbeat gaming conglomerate where we just like to hang out, talk with you guys, talk with ourselves, talk at each other. Surprisingly enough, with about video game stuff, all the things happening in video games right now, specifically about PC gaming. We have news, playlists, and of course our always popular free game of the week.
That's my favorite section.
Well, it's his section completely, so I would hope so. It keeps things fresh and tidy. So, with that, we are going to jump right into it. So, first up on our news piece is a game that we've been told is at one time a very popular game for people who owned Nintendo based products. Uh, we kind of looked at each other and said, we don't know what this game is. So, as of today, maybe an hour ago, we became experts, kind of, maybe, at Monster Hunter.
Well, yeah, I my only experience with this is I have confused it for probably 10, 12 years with Monster Rancher,
Definitely
which is
not the same
something
thing.
very different.
Completely different.
I thought
Also,
every time
welcome
someone
and
talks
hello
about
to
Monster
everyone in
Hunter,
chat. Thank you for joining
yes,
us. Thank
hi
you for all the
chat.
people out
You
there.
are
You are great, beautiful people.
attractive people. So yes,
Beautiful and attractive. That's what we do.
beautiful, gorgeous, just kissable people. Yeah, so I remember seeing a trailer for Monster Rancher and this big like yellow
Not
thing, big yellow
even the
ball
same.
with a
How you
tail,
doing,
some
Captain?
kind of Pokemon looking thing. And I've
No,
always
not even
thought that that
close.
was Monster Hunter. This like really
No.
cutesy thing.
I love Monster Rancher. Monster Rancher is one of the original like PlayStation 1 games that I had, but also I love the TV show, so it kind of motivated me to get the games.
There was a TV show? I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
Monster Rancher. That's
anything
where it
about
came from. Yeah, Monster Rancher is basically you find clay disc in the ground, you put them in a special shrine, and like a monster pops out of it. Basically, it's Monster Ranchers.
just an
Uh,
average Tuesday.
the show was much better than the any of the games I played.
Oh.
But what can you do? But anyway, Monster Hunter World, and the only reason we're talking about it now is that one of the major announcements with Monster Hunter World is that it's coming to PC. Like many
Oh,
great games, people are finally starting to wise up and bring them to PC.
I'm still reeling from the fact that Final Fantasy 15 is coming to
Coming to
PC.
PC. I know there's so many good things coming to PC now.
When's
Destiny
Yakuza
2,
0 coming to PC?
everything.
That's the next one.
Or Sleeping Dogs 2. That's the real question.
Sleeping Dogs 2 coming to anything.
Anything. But Monster Hunter World coming to PC, of course, after console, which is unfortunate. But Monster Hunter World is going to be the very first true open world game for the Monster Hunter series, which I guess is the other major announcement of Monster Hunter. For those who do not know what Monster Hunter is, similar to us earlier today, it's basically a game.
Present.
It's a game where you go out and hunt monsters. I know it's surprising, but that's kind of what you do. You are a player in a open, ever-present world. You get a task to hunt a certain creature with the current equipment that you have. You go out, you battle the creature in any way, shape, or form that you desire after tracking them, which is a whole nother, I guess, new facet of the game that is getting changed slightly, I guess, in terms of being updated and how it actually gets used. So you actually track
Mm-hmm.
down the creature using footprints, what they call mucus remains, I guess, is kind of the replacement of scat remains and all that fun stuff.
Oh.
Uh, you finally you finally track all that down. You get to the monster, and then you battle it out, one way, shape, or form. A few of the videos we watched with Monster Hunter World is that looks like the environment's completely destructible, which is interesting. You
Yay, that's
actually
fun.
see like there's almost like a running away scene where the guy's running away from what looks like a giant T-Rex, and he's just smashing through everything, which is actually interesting because the article was stating that in one of the times when the creature destroyed a facet of the environment, it actually unlocked a hidden cave, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure if there's
Ooh.
anything inside the cave, but it unlocked it, I guess, or unblocked it.
So you
Maybe is
could
the
just
best way
have
of
this
saying
like
it.
one T-Rex that's like your buddy that you're just like,
That's
all right, boom.
I wish that'd be funny. Monster Trainer World, but that'd be
Or it's
funny.
like you have like a red cape that you waggle in front of the cave.
It,
Yoink!
it's the an ASPCA approved version of
Yeah.
Monster Hunter. It's just instead of Monster Hunter, it's like Monster Hugger. Then you just go
Monster
out,
Hugger.
you hug them until they become your
All
friend,
all
and
the
then there's a
boxes
giant
have
heart.
Hunter crossed down. There's just G's put there. Monster
Yay!
Hugger. I
But
would play that.
it looks like an interesting game. It's something that I potentially could be interested in. It seems
Hmm.
like the prospect of Monster Hunter is that it's just bigger and better. You go after a bigger, more complicated task every single time. So if you're the type of person who likes a steadily increasing difficulty tree while advancing your character, advancing your items, because every time you go out and kill a monster, you collect things from the carcass, basically, bring them back, and then use them to craft bigger and better things, which then allows you to kill bigger and better monsters, so on and so forth.
It's interesting because it's like a game out of something that has become such a system in other games, Far Cry and whatever, where it's like, oh yes, go out and hunt the leopard that'll get you a bigger backpack, so you can continue playing Far Cry, And this is just literally, oh no, hunt the thing, hunt the giant dinosaur, build armor so you can survive against a bigger dinosaur,
Exactly.
like.
So it's just bigger and better.
Watch,
rinse, repeat. Eventually, you get to the point where you have to team up with other hunters and, maybe 4v1 the monster, that kind of thing. I'm not sure if there's different types of class or if purely just your item build determines your fighting style. If fighting style is really a critically important thing, because it looked like in at least the videos that I watched, the guy was actually doing a lot more running and letting the environment do the work for him versus just like manning up and like swatting at its leg with a sword. Which is interesting because he was wielding a sword that was twice the length of his body, so I figured it'd be somewhat useful, but apparently not.
Oh, the Final Fantasy effect.
Exactly. This looks like it's just completely over-the-top equipment.
Yeah, and I guess the reaction that I've seen on Twitter for this has been the people who know what it is have been ecstatic. They're just like, this is the bee's knees. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This is a great game. And I take that seriously. When people say that, it's like, okay, there's obviously something here that they have reason to be excited for. So yeah, I'm going to just, I guess, sort of watch what the stuff is that comes up around. I'd like to see like raw gameplay videos,
Exactly.
Just
I think
someone
the
just
thing
playing it.
that they have right now, I know like in PC Gamer, there is a video where 4 folks at PC Gamer got a chance to just fight a monster, a larger monster. That's about probably the closest you can get, but obviously it's still in development. It's not going to be out for a while yet. It's going to be a 2018 game, so there's plenty of time for it to be in development. So right now it's really just more hype building as it gets closer and closer and closer. So that might be something to keep an eye on, but being the fact that I have no history with Monster Hunter, my impression of it is kind of similar to yours, Tom, is that a lot of people that I know that have played Monster Hunter on the 3DS or any type of other Nintendo system, they're thrilled with it, which is great. That's a good sign, but I'm just not sure yet. I want to see more of it to actually see if it's something that I'm going to be worth playing from my standpoint. Left Alive is a game that we've been talking about, the 2 podcasts now? Kind of, we at least brought it up twice.
At least last week we were talking a little bit because there's been this like drip feed of information, drip fed information. It's like the slightest bit of nothing.
So we keep on getting a little bit more each week, and if you remember, this is the game that features people from Metal Gear Solid, Armored Core, and Final Fantasy. And
I think Ghost in the Shell Arise. There's some people behind that.
I think the guy who did like character design for it or something like that. So we keep on getting a little bit more information each week as to what the heck this game actually is. So this week's new information is that we got a couple of screenshots and we got 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe, of gameplay. They released a further trailer which actually shows some gameplay.
So to recap, the first trailer was very much a teaser kind of thing where it was a hallway. There was a Christmas tree at the end, just, scene setting stuff. And one door, just like it's like a hotel hallway or something, and a door blows in. And it's funny because it's like you can see the sign on the door that's like, please clean my room. It's like, oh, this is going to be a big job. And then like the whole wall blows in and camera pans out and you see helicopters carrying mechs flying into this destroyed city. And immediately, I don't know which came first, people speculating or the actual verification.
The egg.
But yeah, the chicken or the mech, as it were. But pretty much they said, what is it? Front Mission is a series?
Yes, the series it's kind of based on.
Yeah, this is the spiritual successor or like the next in the Front Mission series. I actually played a demo for a Front Mission game. I think it was Front Mission 3 on the PS2. And it was an isometric tactics game where, turn-based mech versus mech tactics kind of thing, moving on a grid. I liked it enough, but that's not really something that I super super get into unless it's wrapped up in something like XCOM. But there are fans of the series, and I guess this is the next. It very much is drawing on. We were talking about this just before we started recording or streaming. I forget sometimes that we're live. We were talking before we started doing this, where it was very MGS, is very Final Fantasy looking, or very much the Metal Gear kind of aesthetic.
It looks like Metal Gear Solid. It looks like Square Enix.
Square Enix
wrapped its arm around Metal Gear Solid, and whatever came out of that magical moment is this game. It looks like Metal Gear Solid, just with a lot of like Final Fantasy music and like atmosphere.
Right, the grandiose presentation.
Yeah, and if it's mainly just whatever character you're playing, basically running around in third person, kind of shooting at mechs.
Now that's the different thing, because Front Mission, to my knowledge, was always an isometric,
turn-based,
an iso mech trick game.
Oh my god!
But
time to pun officially 13 minutes.
That's the first official one. It was an isometric game, and there wasn't any third-person combat, and that's like the focus of the 10 seconds of gameplay footage. Puns.
Some iron puns.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know if this is like how this factors in.
Yeah, because it almost kind of reminded me of a Xbox game, almost like Lost Planet. I don't know if you remember.
Oh
that.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
As Tom goes off screen. Exit, stage left. But
this week's Addicted to Loot, sponsored by Ragu.
It's spaghetti. But it looked like a game where
Gamer spaghetti.
Game sketty. It looked like it was a game where you're a tiny person fighting bigger things. At least what we saw. It didn't really look like there was too much person-to-person combat, which I'm assuming there's going to be. But it's kind of hard to say without knowing a little bit of the story or the atmosphere or anything. You really have no idea whether or not this is going to be mainly you dropped into an open map and you got to take down whatever's fighting you. If it's just like a prolonged story with an open world that you just kind of take these mechs on as you go. But most importantly, we don't get a chance to see the player in a mech yet. Maybe that's still in development. This is a game that's going to be I think, mid to late 2018 kind of game. So
I could see this being, looking at the kind of scale of it, I could see this being pushed into 2019.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long-term game. So there's a lot that's going to be put into it. And like I said, as we get drip-fed with this stuff, we'll let you know. I guess it kind of looks interesting for the total of like 20 seconds of gameplay we've seen.
Well, you're definitely more the one of the two of us that's prone to I don't want it to look like I have blood on my face. You're the one of the two of us that's more prone to
spaghetti on my shirt. What are you trying to say, Tom?
To this type of game. This is
guess.
more up your alley than my alley.
Depending on how they treat the mechs, yes, because there's also other thing. Considering I love the old Armor Core series, but the old Armor Core series was 100% mech on mech battling. Shut up. Keep eating your spaghetti, damn it. But I'm just not sure. It'd be interesting to see how they interact between the single player interaction with the mechs. That's going to be the main thing that decides the final hype, for me at least, with this game.
How they decide to mix it up.
Moving right along, Call of Duty World War II multiplayer beta actually is happening this weekend, but for those watching, it's probably more helpful than the people listening to this later. You do have to preload it now-ish. You kind of have to preload it before the end of today specifically. It's through Steam. It's through the Steam client.
There's a fine line.
It's kind of hard to say sometimes.
There's a fine line between addicted to loot or addicted to puns.
It depends on our mood.
Yes. So apparently there's like an expiration date for the preloading or even for loading the entire beta. But so this is a Twitch stream exclusive.
Addicted to loot, just for you. Free giveaway. Everyone listening to this stream can get the open beta. That's free to everyone because
that's like our free game of the week.
Yes, but it's go on.
So. Oh, I was going to say it's a multiplayer only beta for Call of Duty World War II, which is the upcoming Call of Duty.
Yes, and it's through the Steam client. So if you have Steam, go on, search
Mm.
Call of Duty World War II Open Beta, and there'll be a there'll be a link for basically PC Open Beta. It's a free download, free to install. Just have to do it now-ish. Maybe it's still up for later, but specifically the preload expiration is tonight. So please make sure to go do that if you want to play it this weekend. So with that, it's just like Tom said, just purely multiplayer. You'll get a full chance to experience everything with it, at least as far as multiplayer goes. Should be interesting. We did actually play the Battlefield 1 open multiplayer way back when. Kind of had lukewarm take on it. Both will actually be playing it this weekend. We might actually be streaming it this weekend, so please turn
Yes.
into this channel right here, which is Addicted to Loot, or twitch.tv/Addicted to Loot. I always want to say addictedtoloot.com/addicted to loot.
Slash addicted slash Twitch.
Slash addicted to loot slash
Who's
Twitch.
hosting who? And anyone who wants to join us,
Please let us know. We'll always have an open invite, so just ping us and let us know.
Yeah, I am really excited for this. Like, they've been releasing some more story stuff, and it looks like I think you were the one who said, like, it's just, it's more of the same. It's nothing new, and I'm glad for that. I'm happy to experience the Call of Duty World War II big budget Hollywood World War II isn't this great kind of thing. Big air quotes here.
Yeah, like back to our glory days of Call of Duty, but
Yeah.
just basically updated graphics, overhaul, all that fun stuff.
And they've got some extra characters. There's this woman who's in the French Resistance, and there's an English fella, and it looks like there's some just not branching, but different storyline kind of stuff going on there. So that's really cool. The multiplayer beta, I'll be happy to try it. I'll be happy to check it out. But probably why I'm getting this is I want the World War II campaign. I want the big cinematic Call of Duty. We were talking about this last week, and I think it was Kate who said, I'm worried about being like disappointed, and we kind of
hash that out.
Worked it all around to the fact that it's like worried. We're probably all worried about it just being okay. That was fine. Yeah, that was a fine game.
Yeah, I think my major worry is that they're gonna put out a really pretty World War II multiplayer game with a story stitched onto the side that says, "Here you go, you weird antisocial people, just play the game," and it's not going to be that great, which is unfortunate because that's kind of what we're hoping for this major release anyway.
It's almost like Titanfall 2, although Titanfall 2 we realized after the fact. This I'm going into it saying, boy, I hope that the story is good, compelling, fun to play, even replayable. And the multiplayer will be fun, I'm sure. It's Call of Duty. They've been doing this for fucking ever.
Long time.
This is nothing new for them. Their only worries are how are the servers going to hold up,
Exactly. That's going to be a major thing. But cool little feature coming up with Call of Duty World War II. There is a feature called Headquarters. Now, Headquarters
I'm so jazzed
is a mix of a social interaction area, but also in-game area, because it's actually a mix of, you can go there, you can hang out, you can just chill with a bunch of people, whoever you want, maybe people specifically associated to like some kind of gaming clan or your friends, whoever else. But also, people can attack your headquarters. You can actually defend
you choose
your
factions.
Headquarters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can actually have it where they might do an air raid of your headquarters, and you have to man anti-air guns, and they have to bomb you, and then drop paratroopers, and then you have to actually fight it out, which would be kind of interesting. Another aspect of
it's like a little mini nod at, hey, Destiny. Destiny's doing this stuff.
But in Destiny, you can't fight in the social world. This
right,
one is
but
purely
the fact that there's a social hub
gathering
and
spot, which
should
be interesting. Yeah,
right.
But also a cool little aspect of Headquarters, kind of similar to the Dota 2 client. You can actually watch Call of Duty-based esports in the headquarters. You can actually go in there.
That.
So you can have a character. I don't know if you actually watched, if the screen goes full screen, if you actually have to be your character sitting in a virtual couch watching a tinier screen. I don't know how that get.
I hope so. I want to go on the top floor of some, French countryside bar tavern thing, turn on a little tiny tube TV and watch on a black and white 5-inch screen the top Call of Duty esports tournament that's going on right now. I want to do that. But
and you're the only person in the world that wants to do that.
Truthfully, if there is a physical in-game theater space,
I'm assuming it's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be a full screen thing. But basically, if you have the client, you could go in and then maybe you could just Oh, you're watching it virtually with your buddies. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then, oh no, air raid siren, get out!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
No, wait, I want to see how this
I wanna
guy
see how this
if he
works.
pulls off a win, you know. But like, yeah,
Tom, we're being shot. What? This
the
is a
screen
really
just
cool
gets
play, guys.
blasted.
You just see my
Aw.
body go. Dude, what are you
See-
doing? Where's the Doritos? What?
But exactly what you're saying. That sounds
That
so
would be
fun to
fun.
me.
Yeah, that would be
I
kinda
love
cool.
the idea that it's weird because I go back and forth on the idea of games as service or games as, you know, a persistent thing.
Mm.
But if they create the Call of Duty World War II game, that which you sign into and say, hey, my friends are here. Oh, let's chat and hang out in the social space and just kind of, you know, mess around a little bit.
Mhm.
Hey, do you want to do a co-op thing? Or hey, do you want to do some PvP or whatever? I think that's cool. I think that's good for the health of a game.
Exactly. No, I think it'd be interesting. It's a cool little feature. Interesting to see how they play it out and how it actually gets implemented. But I don't know if it's going to be featured as part of this beta, but it definitely is going to be part
Doubtful.
of the game
Yeah.
eventually.
I think they specifically said it's not going to be part of the beta. I think that's how I
Which is
found
my
out
prediction
about
as well.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Another free game for this weekend, Lawbreakers, is also available to play free for this weekend as well as it's giving a 25% off discount if you want to purchase Lawbreakers. We both played it. We both played the open beta, and if you want to go back and listen to that podcast, you will soon realize we both were kind of with it. Maybe even less than with
Yeah.
it. It just was
I feel bad. There's a lot of passion behind Lawbreakers, but
I can see where they're going with it, but we just felt like it was too imbalanced. I mean, it was supposed to be a game that just featured gravity-defying, super fast-paced combat, but unfortunately, it was too super bursty. It was just like there was no such thing as an engagement. It was just basically run, wall jump, bang, you're dead, or wall jump,
Yeah.
you shoot a guy, bang, you're dead. I mean, it just wasn't like I just never felt like I was actually part of a battle or a fight. It just felt like, oh, I'm either dead or I'm like wall running.
I was thinking earlier today about that we were going to be talking about this tonight, and I thought, are FPSs out of fashion? I thought, well, no, not really. But
I
what's
wouldn't
happened
say
is
that.
they've definitely focused in. Well, you could just have 100,000 maybe
Oh, yeah.
10 years ago, and there were small communities that played each one. It's now at a point where a crap ton of people are playing Overwatch, a crap ton of people are playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, a crap ton of people are playing the most recent Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, and it's almost with Call of Duty and Battlefield, these are almost like people who are loyal to the
Yeah, it's basically like
these
this is my
franchises.
multiplayer game. This is what I shall play.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is like the DayZ of right now. It's like there's a specific kind of genre that fits into, and Overwatch is like the Team Fortress genre. It's almost like people are just kind of coalescing under saying like, hey, I like these hero-based shooters. Yeah, Overwatch is good. Yeah, a lot of people play it. Oh, okay, let's all just, and it's like everything else sort of falls by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
So
It'd be
I don't know.
interesting,
It's
but
it's almost like things are just getting more focused.
if you want to try it out for yourself, it is free to play. I think this is through which client again? The
Lawbreakers is through I think it's through its own client. I can't
yeah,
remember.
I think you're right. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone else has any other different opinions on it. But we just thought it was pretty unbalanced to actually be a worthwhile game,
Yeah.
especially with what they're going for. So, do I say the official title or the one in the doc? I don't really know. This was your creation, so
I'm sorry. I can't not call it that. It's
says the guy who gave me crap about Badlands.
so Assassin's Creed Origins,
Yes.
not to be confused with Ass Creed Oranges, which is
what Tom believes is actually called.
what I may have
Or Total Hammer War 2. Whatever.
Warhammer 2.
That's what it was, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Origins, the newest Assassin's Creed that's coming out that takes place in Egypt, has one of the coolest friggin' things that's been announced today. They're going to have something called Discovery Mode. And this is a very specific thing, but I think that it's just top notch. This is so cool. Basically, Assassin's Creed, right? These are games that take place in these periods of time and these historic locations. They've got all these, they go out of their way to make these landmarks and to have these things be, it's magical history, realistic fiction kind of stuff. But it's like, hey, here's this structure. Hey, here's this person. They are now adding this mode, Discovery Mode, which will literally have historical tours within Assassin's Creed. So specifically with this one, Assassin's Creed Origins, it's going to be Egypt. So you're going to be, I don't know if it's like the Freedom Trail or something, or if it's going to send you on a course.
Maybe you have like Pierce Brosnan or somebody narrate you through like Egypt or what. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I mean,
I always think of when we went on our high school Boston trip, and you're in the, I think it was the Prudential Center. You could tune in, and it's like, hear the dialogue in French, and it's like, bonjour, voici Boston, and then it's like, hear it in English. Hey yo, so you're looking over here, and it's just like, oh, that's Boston.
Yeah, that's purely the Boston accent.
Here's Fenway Park. It's good shit.
So people never know where exactly we're stationed. But anyway,
regionally,
I do agree that this is a unique mode that hasn't been featured before. I'm extremely pleased that they actually did something with it and that they actually got the idea to do it, because it's a perfect setting for it. I'm interested to see in what manner do they do that. Do they team up with National Geographic? Do they team up with the History Channel? Do they team up with some specialists to actually do the voiceovers and the actual dialogue?
Right.
Is it going to be like, purely a walk-in door where they just give you waypoints, you walk, you look, if they talk, you walk, you look, they talk? Or is it going to be like, over here was the Battle of Blankety Blank, and you actually get to like, oh my god, it's happening.
It's so funny if there's like a designated tour guide and there's just like all these other
like is there going to be like an actual
out
icon?
Like assassins that are like kind of walking with like cameras. And
maybe you actually get to do it where like it's a PvP area, like an open PvP area, and everyone's just walking together.
You can at any time shank somebody.
Somebody strolls away from the group. Oh my god, I lost my son Timmy. Timmy, if you remember, you can hear my voice come back to the group.
Sending up flares.
But is it going to be like you said? Is it going to be like an icon guided tour? Is it just purely going to be a waypoint guided tour?
Yeah,
I mean, is it
going to be a waypoint thing?
Is it going to be episode based? Or are you going to be able to choose like, hey, I want to do this pyramid today? Or are you going to have to like you just go begin and then it takes you through the entire thing, start to finish? You can't break it up. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to actually implement it.
The two ways I see it going are waypoint, and it could be a combination of both or either. Waypoint oriented thing, like here's this, here's that, and it's like
stop and listen, stop and listen, stop and listen.
Or listen or read text, or it's which does exist in games in the form of lore. It's just literally a landmark object, like you see a pyramid. There's like a little distinct platform or something. Press use on it, whether you click or button on your controller, and it's like, here's the information about what you're looking at. So that would be that's okay, but I love the idea of like a literal guided tour.
I think it would be kind of cool.
Walk down this street, go over here and look at
that.
As
part of this game, they actually station like 10,000 tour guides just sitting in an office, and they're like, boo-doo. Oh, someone logged on. Hi.
Oh, finally.
My name is Steve. I will be your tour guide today. Boo-doo. Oh, he logged off. No, why?
When we were talking about earlier this year about Mass Effect Andromeda, I kind of famously banged on about like the museum that they have in there, the Angaran Museum, and I was just like, I want more of this. I want more stuff like this. So
you got it.
It reminds me of like edutainment games that you played in school. DK kind of like, oh, let's explore a castle, and it's like there's a game element, but mostly you're going through and it's like, oh, in this room they used to torture people. Oh, this is cool. They would stretch people out on this thing. Oh, wow, that's awesome.
As demonstrated by Bob.
Yeah. Wait, what?
How's that hurt, Bob? Oh, it hurts a lot, Steve. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Wow, this sucks. And now moving on, guys. So yeah, no, I think that this is so cool. This is kind of like the same way I feel about Call of Duty adding a social space. Assassin's Creed adding a literal, hey, we go out of our way to put history into games. Let's make a history mode.
I think
it's like these are good for the health of these franchises.
We were talking about this before the stream. I actually think it'd be cool if you could potentially buy this mode separately from the game.
Yeah.
I think it'd be actually really cool just for people to be like, hey, for $5, you can just have like a interactive Egypt lesson. Some dude in high school is like, oh, great, I'm about to do that section in history.
Right.
Like, that'd be kind of cool.
I would have friggin' loved that in high school. Are you kidding? I would have just been like, this is so up my alley. So.
Wait, Tom, why are you starting up your computer? Oh, it's my project, I swear. Just hold on a second.
Let's be honest, though. Wasn't that like half of my project?
That was basically most of your projects. But, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I'm even going to buy this game. This isn't going to motivate me.
I'm excited for this one, independent of this. Yeah.
But would you pay a $60 price tag just to have this feature?
it does. It's like I was just saying. I am already excited for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty much interested in getting this anyway. This sealed the deal. It's like, oh, I haven't really played an Assassin's Creed since like the first one, and even then I only own 4. The pirate one.
Black Flag.
Um,
Black Flag was a good
yes.
one, but it definitely was not an Assassin's Creed game. It's a good pirate
Completely-
game. It is a
completely different
crappy
game,
Assassin's
yeah.
game.
And I like the idea of these games, so I just was like, oh, I love Ancient Egypt. This is going to be fun. Okay, I'll see how the development looks. And this is just like, yeah, I want it. I need it.
So it's going to be in there. So maybe if this is something that's already on your to-do list, and maybe if you are actually a history buff, this is just another thing to look forward to. Anyone else? Be interesting to hear if this actually is something that would motivate you or help you make your decision to purchase the game. Who knows? PlayerUnknown Battleground is a very popular thing.
I don't know, you may have heard of it.
You may have heard of it by now. It actually broke 15 million concurrent users, which is huge, especially for Steam. It's through the charts huge. But we also talked about last week that Fortnite, which is Epic's kind of open worldy, cartoony, zombie base building survival game, actually is implementing a PlayerUnknown Battleground like feature, which is literally PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Oh,
to the point where
you said it. That's the next news item.
But that's the segue, Tom. That's the segue.
Oh, I get what you're doing.
We literally wrote the script together. It's the. But anyway, so Fortnite actually made a PlayerUnknown Battleground like feature, which is literally to the point where you drop in the same way, you parachute in, you shoot each other, blah blah blah. For last man standing wins, blah. So interesting now that it's been a week since we covered that topic, and there's been a huge controversy blowing up, specifically around the PlayerUnknown Battleground producer and creator rather. Over basically Fortnite using this concept and making it into a actual feature. The main controversy is, from his standpoint, he's like, oh, this was my thing, this is my idea, this is what my game does, how dare you. From Fortnite's perspective, it's a game feature. You can't monopolize a game feature, and that's where the controversy comes in. Can you actually monopolize, trademark, or patent a type of gameplay?
Here's the thing, though. At first, that's exactly what it seemed like, and since then they've kind of I think is it Bluehole that develops PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Something like that.
They've kind of changed their tune a little bit, and they've said that no, what we're pissed off at is that Fortnite is saying, hey, we've got a mode that's like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. They're mad at them using
the actual verbiage, the actual
that
the name
as a selling
title.
point. Like, hey, do you like this game? This game's really cool, right? You like this game a lot? Come play our version of it.
Do you think it would be different if they just said, we have a feature that's a
Battle
100-person
Royale.
battle royale?
Yeah, maybe
it would be okay.
Maybe, but it's like you were just saying. It seemed right out of the gate that the PUBG team was upset that this was a competitor, and it's free. It's free. I actually, for some reason, I think it's because I played Paragon, got an invite to play the Fortnite one early last week. It is now out, I think today, if not yesterday, officially free for everyone. So you can download. Basically, what you do is you download Fortnite, but you just have access to that mode.
To the client, to that game.
Fortnite itself will also eventually be free, but right now that's completely open access. And I'll be talking about that later during my playlist. But yeah, just real quick on it. It is exactly what PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds does. It is a complete identical thing. There is no subtlety to but now what Fortnite's one does differently is that you can build things on the fly. So you can build a very, very primitive structure, short walls, things to hide behind. If you've got time, which is not an element of these games, you can build an actual structure, like a tower or something. But mostly what I saw is a lot of desperate, oh God, a guy's shooting at me. Build a wall, build a wall, build a wall. Wall's destroyed, but you've had enough time to run away.
Yeah, so something like that. But it should be interesting. I'm kind of interested to hear, spoiler, kind of interested to hear Tom's experience with it. But that's mainly the controversy with this, and maybe I would agree with them. I think the majority of frustration here should be based on the fact of the use of the actual name of the game versus we have a similar genre kind of thing. Because I don't believe that any person or any company or anything can actually patent and monopolize a genre, even if they invented it. I think once the
Yeah.
idea is out there, it's basically free public knowledge, unless they decide to do some kind of new version of intellectual property laws. Maybe that's something that
Yeah.
could happen, but I don't see the industry or the patent government going that direction. But
Yeah. I think the way that
thank you,
I
Scaly, for the host. Whatever
oh,
you are,
holy
Scaly.
crap. Thank you, Scaly, and hello, Scaly's crew. Scaly's awesome.
Actually, yes,
Holy
with
shit.
10 viewers. Thank you, all
Wow.
the Scaly people. Welcome
Scaly
to the
Squash
addiction.
Scaly Squash 50 is a great friend of the Addicted to Loot channel and also a great person. I can vouch for this.
She actually
I've seen
joined
her
us.
in the real life.
She actually joined us for one of our episodes.
And hopefully will join us again when we are playing Destiny. That's just our invite to you, Scaly.
And though it's not cross-platform.
When we're playing it, so she can come in and have opinions.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Because we're PC plebs. Yeah, so the way I fall on the whole Fortnite thing is I understand. God, I want to say it's Bluehole. I hope that's not wrong. I understand the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds team saying we're upset that you're using our game to promote yours. I understand that. But yeah, there's no way that you can really kind of claim the Battle Royale mode. It's like it brings me back when I hear stuff like this. It brings me back to when like Doom came out and every other FPS at the time, because FPS didn't exist as a term.
Yeah.
So it was Doom clones. So it's like, oh yeah, Quake. It's kind of like Doom. It's one of those Doom ripoffs. And now we have a term. I mean, it's weird though, because then you have something like roguelikes,
which are literally rogue likes.
Yeah, like the game Rogue.
Yes.
But it's become such a ubiquitous term. But I don't know. We could talk circles on it forever.
Yeah. There's more than enough press on this. If you're actually interested in hearing and reading up on this controversy, you can probably just put it in, and numerous publications are going to cover it.
Extensive interview on PC Gamer.
So there's a lot on this. But main takeaways here: PlayerUnknown Battleground, super popular, 15 million concurrent players. Fortnite has officially released their PlayerUnknown Battleground-like feature of a Battle Royale.
You said it again!
I'm trying to coin the term. Very first here on Addicted to Loot. You've heard it here first.
A PUBG-like.
Yeah, there you go.
PUBG-like. Yeah, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it?
No, it really doesn't. But those are the main talking points here. Go check it out. Be interested to hear if anyone has really strong opinions on this. Either way, write it to us, tweet it to us. We'll be happy to share your opinions on it.
And I'll be talking about Fortnite a little bit later in the episode.
Exactly. A game that surprisingly keeps creeping back up in our podcast every so often, Skyrim, a game that we know, we love, we highly recommend to just about anyone who will listen to us. A great, amazing, open world, massive RPG is actually getting a mod that will allow you to do co-op gameplay, meaning you and a buddy could play single-player offline Skyrim together. I mean, it's obviously not completely offline, but basically it's the single-player story mode with more people. I think up to maybe like 4+ people actually can go on a mode at once. The main thing with this is that this is something that's been going on for a very long time. It's been in development for God knows how long, but it's officially becoming close to release. So it's supposed to happen in this month, meaning September 2017. It's actually going to be happening, they hope, in October 2017. So if you are a big Skyrim fan or just always wanted to play co-op Skyrim, which I am one of those people, keep a lookout for it. It's called Skyrim Together is the actual name of the mod and the extension that's
Didn't Minecraft just release something better together?
Yes, that allowed for mobile play, console play, and PC play. Not sure if Skyrim's going to do the same thing, but it mainly is, at least it seems like from a PC standpoint, that you'll be able to co-op Skyrim, which I think would be a lot of fun.
I can't wait for Solitaire Together.
It's like, where? Solitaire Together, oh my god.
Here, take this card and put it over there. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Click. This is the most
thrilling!
extreme Twitch stream ever. Look at this, Evan! Look at this, Evan! Look at this! Oh, you missed the play!
Wow!
Oh my god!
Can you rotate the card? Yeah, man!
But yeah, I'm just thinking, like, what happens if one of you at one in the corner of the map, one's at the other corner of the map, and you're just like, okay, now just come to me. When are you gonna get here in about an hour?
There's probably gonna be a teleport me to.
Hopefully, like fast travel mode.
Yeah.
But
No,
I think
I'm actually I remember this mod like entering development because Skyrim has been around for about 87 years. So it's something that's been it's something that's been, I'm
no one ever
sure,
fact checks
well
us, so it's fine.
QA tested. I guess I'm surprised that it's like only just entering an official release because I thought that it was a thing that was
I think
out.
it's a
But
thing
maybe
as
it's
in
just
terms
been
of
at this
as an
janky
idea,
kind of like,
but
yeah.
I mean, per this article, this is a PC Gamer article, that it's officially is a thing that's happening. After years of development, multiplayer Skyrim is almost done as the main catch line. So
There you go.
it's been around for forever, but I think they're finally getting the bugs off with to actually release. So I think this is pretty cool. This might actually be a reason to dust off your old Skyrim game, your old virtual copy from Steam, blow out your computer
Or
screen or
buy
something.
the new special enhanced edition with
Yes.
more volumetric fog.
Yeah, I much prefer the older version with mods than I did the newer version. That was supposed to be better. But anyway,
Back in
that's
my
just
day.
that's just me. But yeah, I actually think this would be something that if it does work, I would actually want to re-download and do a new co-op stream. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Moving right along into our last news piece. As you heard me talk about numerous times over the past couple weeks, Total War Warhammer 2 is actually a thing and is actually releasing.
Warhammer 2.
Exactly. As of this stream, which is live on the 27th, it's releasing, going live tomorrow, which means, I guess, for where I'm sitting, it's going to be live at like 3 a.m. in the morning or something like that. But it actually goes live on September 28th, 2017, which is tomorrow, as of the recording of this podcast. Other people that might be listening to it might be later, might be earlier, who knows. But it's a thing. It's happening. I'm super excited for it. Main thing that we wanted to talk about here is that I'm going to be putting up both YouTube videos and streams. Just not sure when the streaming schedule will be, but definitely the YouTube schedule should hopefully start sometime tomorrow, which might be super late tomorrow because by the time I get home, do things, render, and all that fun stuff, it might be a lot later. But the mode or the free DLC that will be coming out post-launch, which will allow for the entire old world of Warhammer to be played, meaning it does Total War Warhammer 2, it does the map from Total War Warhammer 1, all that fun stuff. It actually got a name. It's called Mortal Empires. And it is, I'm just going to read off some of the details with Mortal Empires, which is, like I said, it's going to be the extension and the expansion, not even expansion, it's a free DLC that allows for you to conquer the entire map. Which means, this is funny because it includes the first map, the new map, but also additional maps on top of that. It actually includes more maps in between the two. It actually does the entire Warhammer race, or the entire Warhammer globe. So, for those of you who might not know, who might know Total War, there's going to be 37 leaders at 27 different starting positions with 117 factions that cover almost 300 settlements. So that means when you do an end turn, there's 117 factions that have to make a move during that end turn. So they were saying like this might
Please
increase.
tell me that's like optimized.
You can do quick passes, meaning like you can say like show me as little information as possible to help it go by. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty intense. For me, being a strategy buff and a Total War buff, I'm super excited for this. But I can only imagine the chug and the wear and tear on your computer this is going to cause to have all those people. Luckily, the fact that since it's not concurrent, it's not nearly as bad from a processing standpoint. But I can only imagine starting out as one little faction. You really only care about what's around you, and you build and you build and you build. Finally, you start kind of getting to the point where, like, okay, I just have to deal with the few other major factions, and now all of a sudden people are coming in from across the globe, and you're like, crap, I have to worry about you people. Now you slowly took out your entire portion of the map. Okay.
This is literally the plot of Game of Thrones.
Basically. And then you're like, okay, finally I have this. Now I gotta
Who's this bitch with her dragons?
I have to take my armies, sail across the ocean, and finally try to make a foothold in the other map, but you have no idea where you're going, you have no scouting, you have nothing. And you're just like, let's just go somewhere and hopefully we can find a spot to set camp overseas. And then all of a sudden you're managing two different continents, you're managing two different enemies. I mean, there is an insane amount of potential here, especially with they do versus campaigns and co-op campaigns with your friends. So you could literally do a versus campaign that goes on for months because you never see each other, or a co-op campaign where it just takes forever before your civilizations even meet, to actually make a combined force. So this is actually really interesting. I'm super excited for this. I really hope that I hope it goes live soon, and I hope it it doesn't have too many hiccups because I'm really interested in it. But
this is again. I do want to say really quick. Hi, Neon Robot.
hey guys, hi chat.
Hi,
Woo!
hi everyone in chat. This is again games as a service. It's interesting. My opinion on this has changed over time because I was kind of apprehensive about this, but I like this idea of them saying, okay, we're going to make multiple, Warhammer games, but not, the next one does not make the prior one obsolete. It's, okay, so we're going to make one because we're at a point now in development where things are moving much, much, much slower than they used to, like graphically and all that. It's like a game developed this year and a game developed 5 years ago don't look nearly as different as a game developed 5 years before that.
Yeah.
So now we're at a point where we can release 1, 2, 3 games, maybe a year or two apart, and they're similar. They're similar enough in framework and in design that they could say, oh yeah, and all these games can be played as one big game. StarCraft, Warcraft, they've done that. So it's just that. It's the present day version of what those games did, where it's multiple things where you could say, okay, we're going to focus on this one. We're going to produce the best possible content within these parameters. In a game like this, we're going to make these races perfect. We're going to make these factions perfect. So this is cool. This is great. I'm really glad that they're doing that.
Yeah, I think it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully everything goes well starting tomorrow, actually. I was trying to get an excuse to get off of work so I could do it a little bit more actively, but unfortunately, real life is calling. But anyway, we're going to move into our playlist for this week, and as you can tell, Tom's going to be carrying the lion's share for this.
Yeah, actually for the first time in my life, I've played video games.
I actually thought I played more, but apparently I just been marathoning XCOM 2. Who would have thought? Quick update on War of the Chosen, which I have been playing almost exclusively lately.
Which is the current XCOM 2 expansion.
Correct. It's the current XCOM 2 expansion. Adds a lot to the game. This will probably change completely once Total War Warhammer 2 drops, but then also we have just to foreshadow, we have Total War Warhammer 2, we have Destiny coming up soon, and also I have the South Park Fractured But Whole also coming out real soon. So I know. So there's a lot of games coming out in the next last quarter of this year. So there's actually going to be far more active than
Shadow of War this year.
Yes, Shadow of War is also this year.
Oh my god.
So I mean, think about it. The last 3 months are going to be super active compared. We've been kind of going through a major dry spell of new releases lately. So it's all going to be kind of crammed in the next 3 months. So please pay attention. It's
great because I've been able to finally catch up on some games.
Yeah, so it's gonna.
Scaly has the best reaction.
I know, the best. I've thought the same thing, Scaly, many a time. There was once a time when we used to play together.
Oh my god.
The good old days.
I don't think we've been able to co-op a game since last year.
Since the Division. But
oh my god, that's a year and a half ago.
I know, it's been intense. So just foreshadowing, there should be more excitement coming up soon versus kind of what just random old stuff that we've been playing and covering. So please stay tuned for that. So War of the Chosen is the latest and greatest XCOM 2 expansion. Really great, a lot of fun.
Expansion.
But for me personally, it fixed a lot of issues that I was having with vanilla XCOM, even with the other few random DLCs that dropped, which were really all well received. This one is extremely well received, and I can see why. So much more enjoyable. I like it a lot. You can listen to it last week, which I went far more in depth with. Main thing I want to talk about here is that still enjoying it, still loving the campaign, loving some of the randomness to it, which actually does create some replayability. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's my rig, the game, or what, but I've been running into some game-breaking bugs. Not game-breaking in the sense that the game crashes, just campaign-breaking things where, I physically cannot get through a mission without a bug activating that causes me to fail the mission. Because I know some people I've read that say, just, close the game down, open up your last save, hopefully it refreshes everything and you're fine. I've done that multiple times, and it just doesn't work. The only way that
these bugs happen at the same times or with the same.
I can't say since I've only done one playthrough. That I'm not sure of. But just for instance, there was a specific story mission that just has to happen this way. So it's not like you can fail it and keep going. You have to pass this mission kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So the bug occurred, couldn't figure out how to do it, shut the game down, started it back up, tried it again, just didn't happen. Eventually, I just triggered myself to fail the mission. I just purposely killed someone just so that I could fail. And then that happened, and they're like, "Oh, you need to restart the mission." So I restarted the mission, and then it actually worked. So I was like, that one I kind of got off scot-free because of the fact that it's a story mission. There's no way to advance forward, so it's like you could only pass this mission. That helped. The next time actually just happened last night or the night before. I was playing a mission where, and it's apparently this isn't a abnormal bug. I've researched and people actually have had this bug. Like I have to go to an escort mission where I have to run up to a point where there's a VIP and a soldier on the ground. I have to go up, secure the location, grab the soldier and the VIP, and run away and evacuate. Well, no matter what I do, and I replay this mission twice, I cannot get the VIP to become controllable. He just stands there. Like, I can't select him. I can't do anything. I put all my team around him. I do everything. I kill off everyone on the map. He just cannot be selected. So I physically had to pick up the guy, go to the evacuation point, and just fail the mission because I can't physically get the guy out of there.
Come with me. No. Come with me.
So,
no.
I'm not sure what it is. The main thing, I have one or two random add-ons on, which are like not like major add-ons. They're like things like, oh, you can hit it. There's a button that says evacuate all versus evacuate one at a time. Like those little things. So I haven't done the full due diligence of doing completely vanilla and seeing if that gets rid of the bugs. But it does seem like people have had these issues before besides me with the vanilla game. So maybe I'm unlucky.
Because I had heard that the mods are like just across the board completely incompatible with the expansion.
But I actually went through. I did my homework, and I actually went with the if you want to do War of the Chosen, use this version of this mod. I'd use every single one.
Which it won't take long for those to all be.
Yeah. So everything I clicked on or I used and I activated actually said this is War of the Chosen compatible. When you launch the browser, it says yep, these are good. I go. So those are the main things. But I have not tried basically trying to do a vanilla debug of it. Basically going. Unsubscribe all of them, which really, like I said, they're not all that much. There's one that's like evacuate all. There's one that does like it keeps
quality
like
of life stuff.
Yeah, it keeps like like lifetime stats, things that I just like to know because I think they're cool. Yep. Actually, I think because it gives a little bit more RPG elements to the game.
My favorite mod, which was like, why wasn't this in the game? They ultimately did put in the game, which was I think it shows if you're being flanked or if you're flanking.
Exactly, that kind of thing. So those little things are things
they ultimately added that in.
Yeah, so those are the types of things that I added on. So nothing like everyone, like, you now do 2x damage, oh my god, or like things like, all the aliens now look like puppies, like, it's nothing like that.
So all of my mods.
Basically, yes. But, I don't know, I'm gonna keep
XCOM
playing.
Pet daycare. I didn't think this joke out.
No, you didn't. Please go. Please keep going.
Daycare.
Come on, Tom.
That's a proper term, right? You put animals in a pet daycare.
Pet daycare. I was trying to think of it. Come on, where's the XCOM puppy puns?
I blew my pun load earlier this episode. That was not a good one either. Please keep talking.
XCOM 2 Pluto. I tried. But okay. Lucky for you, I'm done. So, Tom, you're up to talk now.
Shit.
So, Tom, your massive playlist, which is carrying the load for tonight.
So I played a heap of things. First one I'm going to talk about is I played the Fortnite Battle Royale as as I was talking about earlier. I have not played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but I've seen plenty of gameplay videos of it, plenty of footage, heard people talk about it, read countless articles on it. This is completely Fortnite's one is completely exactly doing entirely precisely the same thing. Again, with the addition that you can build very primitive structures. So you start off, you're in this giant flying bus, and then you're over an island. This is the Fortnite one. Timer goes off. Everyone out of the bus. Everyone's got to fly out and go skydive onto pretty much anywhere you want on the island. And it's not a children's show. And then you land. Basically, your early game, which these matches are going to be like 15 minutes, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Your early game is you gathering resources if you want to, looting, looking for guns, looking for weapons, or looking for traps. The traps are cool. I didn't get to use a lot of them, but I saw them around. Accidentally, I did the thing of like, you picked up an arc mine trap. Oh, what's this do? Press the button, just put it up. Like, oh, well, that would have been useful over there, So, and so, yeah, you're doing things like you're chopping down trees, or you're hacking away at rocks so you can get the resources so you can build these structures really quick. And the menu is a little unwieldy. I think it's like on the F1 keys.
Yeah, it's like a weird little. I think it's actually
keys.
easier on a controller.
Yeah, you can. I think if you roll the mouse wheel or something, there's a way to do some shortcut
Basically, it pops up like
stuff.
a square grid, and then you have to choose like here, down, up, and then you can actually there's boxes that you can delete to make like half wall, full wall, door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can, it's got that stuff in it. But really, what I found in like the 3 or 4 matches that I played is that it just really quickly becomes, oh my god, I gotta find like guns, something, anything that'll help me survive, because you just have like this sort of a multi-tool, kind of like a pickaxe that's also so you basically scramble for guns, and the thing, the player unknown battlegrounds thing is that over the course of the game there's this kind of encroaching circle that's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's this digital force field, and if you are outside of it, you're killed. So it makes everyone on this massive island get closer and closer together until finally you're fighting in this like 10 by 10 foot space. Starts with 100 players, really quickly starts to whittle down. The best moments, I got pretty far. One of the matches I was actually 8th out of everybody, so that was pretty cool. No winner chicken dinner or whatever the Fortnite equivalent is. But the best moment, right out of the gate, if you can just what I found is if you could just hide, 50% of the players are going to take care of themselves. And then the map starts getting closer and closer. So like the best one, the one where I ended up finishing 8th, I landed in this kind of like farmland, had a farmhouse, had a little kind of hay, I want to call it a hay garage, hay barn, but like a small one where you park your hay. After going to the store
to drive.
When you come back home and you got to let your hay idle for a little bit. No, like a little mini shed. That's the word. Shed. Hey, garage.
It's kind of like you're trying to start up a conversation with the garage.
Yeah. Hey, garage. What's up? I should have asked you to bail me out here. You thought I was done with the puns, but I've only just begun. Finger guns.
Guns.
So I was in this garage, in the shed, and there was this farmhouse, and I could see the windows. I could see people go into the farmhouse, and then like another guy would go in and they duke it out, and the other guy would run out. Then another guy would go in. People are very visible, big chunky cartoon characters, kind of like the Overwatch look. And when they run, you see like a trail of dust behind them, which I'm sure was a conscious thing of like, oh, look, there's a guy over there, But no one ever knew that I was in this shed until finally there was one guy who camped out in the building. He didn't know I was there, but I knew he was in there. And the circles started coming in. So I was like, we got to run. One of us has to go. And it's like getting closer. I was like, fuck it. And I ran. And it was just the thing. If he had a sniper rifle, just, oh God. It was great. It was so tense. It was so exciting. I lived. I just did the S weaving kind of thing. Like, oh no. Literally screaming that out loud at my computer. So that was fun. That was a fun, memorable little experience. And I ended up holing up in this kind of tower building. And ultimately, I can't even remember. It was down to a really small area. And someone just took me off of the side by a sniper rifle. And it's what we were talking about last week. It's that one stray shot that gets you. It's not like you have a firefight with a guy and it's like, oh my God, I'm, taking some damage, but I can still finish you off. It's the one guy who sees you and you don't see him. That's how you do stuff in this game. That's how you get a kill. But it was fun. It was okay. It's a little bit frustrating sometimes when it's like, you're really quickly taken care of, and it's like, well, I haven't even like gotten invested yet. And I know that that's the thing. That's the charm of it. Like, okay, well, I need to do better. I need to do better next time. I need to last longer. It's tense. I think Scaly actually was the one who was saying last week that it was good because there's less pressure to be, you don't have to walk away from it number one. Like I felt great finishing number 8. I was just like, oh my God, I was not expecting to even get in the top 50. So it's okay. it's not really my type of game to super invest in.
Mm-hmm.
I get
Not
absolutely
something you're gonna run back to.
Yeah, I get absolutely why it's fun. It's a killer app. You know, I can't believe they've released this for free. Like, PUBG is $30, I think.
Yes.
Scaly
Scaly's
is
always right.
Hashtag Scaly's all right.
Right.
Absolutely, that's never been wrong, except when she's wrong. But all the other times she's right.
Confucius say she is right when she is not wrong.
Whenever she's correct, she's right. No, yeah. So I guess this is me kind of both talking about Fortnite's mode and the Battle Royale mode that's popular in games right now in general. It's fun. It's not for me. But I do recommend people check it out. It's fully free. It's completely, you can go do it. That's always a good thing. See if you have fun with it. You're not going to get flamed, so that's cool. It's not the type of game
flamed.
You're going to get dunked on, but you're not going to get flamed because you were a bad carry on the team or something, like you were a bad support or
there's no
whatever.
Salt shakers required.
There's no team. It's every man for himself. Mm-hmm. So basically, it goes back to the glory days of free for alls and shooters, where it's just like, I've died, and the only one I have to blame is myself.
That,
yeah. So, yeah, fine. I see why it's popular. I also see why it's popular because you need 100 people to start up a match. So that's why there's whatever it was, 1.5 million people playing at once.
15 million.
Because you need that many people to make this work. So, yeah, that's that. It's fine. I don't know if the Fortnite isms bring enough to the table to separate it. It's fine that they're there, and I see him probably presenting some cool little sequences where it's like a guy just lands in the right spot and builds the perfect, like, impenetrable fortress.
Like, he lands right in the middle of where the magical circle is going to be.
Yeah, and it's just like goes on a whim and starts building up and up and up, and it's like, here's hoping. And like when everyone starts to come in, they just see like it's like Squidward's snow tower, and the one SpongeBob says like 9 miles high. Just
and just nothing but turrets everywhere.
Yeah, but yeah, I would have liked to have played more with the traps too. But anyway, that's Fortnite's PUBG mode. I have also finally, at long last, been playing Heat Signature. This is out now. This is Tom Francis. Suspicious Developments is his company. He developed Gunpoint. Tom Francis is a great human being. He's just this really cool guy. He used to work for PC Gamer. He's on the Crate and Crowbar podcast. He's an incredible human being, just a great accessible game developer, has fantastic like YouTube videos of him talking about game development and how to make your own game. Just a charming guy and great sense of humor. And it shows in this game. So Heat Signature, I played a beta a few months ago, and it's changed very little from it, which is good because I loved it. Just a good spit, shine, and polish, and that's it. But this is a roguelike. You start off as, well, there's a tutorial, but the general gameplay loop is there's a couple of randomly generated characters sitting at the bar in a space station. You can pick one of them. And they get a random loadout. So usually it'll be like a melee weapon and either a ranged weapon or like a teleporter or maybe a grenade launcher or just a grenade or something, And you'll pick missions to do, and the mission difficulties are great because it's like you got easy, medium, hard, audacious, mistake. Like that's the level of difficulty. And it's like I said, there's sense of humor throughout the whole thing. And you'll have like parameters for these missions. So you'll have an overarching story for your character that's randomly generated, like rescue my mother or rescue my son or something like that. But that's just a long-term thing to give you some sense of motivation. But these little mini missions will be like, okay, break into this ship. You're always going to be breaking into a ship, and do something, either retrieve an item, assassinate this guy, something like that. And it plays like Hotline Miami a little bit, but with more flexibility. It's randomly generated, so I love that. It's a complete roguelike. So you'll take a mission. Say it's break into this ship and steal this artifact. So you get into your little ship and you fly across the galaxy. You find out where the ship is. It's all easily marked. There's a lot of talk about quality of life. This is a game based on quality of life. It's like, hold down this button to just go faster. And it's like a literal fast forward button. It's not like, oh, it's a booster that has to recharge. No, just literally hold down F and you'll go like 6 times as fast. Just so you get there faster. That's all it is. It's literally speed past the boring moments. We know that they're in there. So you dock onto the ship. And again, top down, it's compartmentalized into little square rooms. And you can see the whole ship as soon as you dock. You can see everybody that's in it and basically what you're dealing with. So sometimes it's like, okay, the item I need to steal is behind the second level of security passcode. And there's a guard walking around that's carrying around a second level passcode. So eventually I'm going to have to either steal that from him or kill him or get it somehow. So you could have an item that's like a teleporter. One of my favorite ones is this one called the Visitor, which literally teleports you for 5 seconds and then re-teleports you back. So
it's kind of like the Sombra kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But it just does it. You don't manually fire it off. So say you go into the first room and it's like there's like 3 guards here and it's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to fight those guys. But the one guard who's carrying the key code is just 1 room over within range of your teleporter. So you can just be like, okay, go into that room. Maybe you have a wrench. Like, that's the weapon that you have. You have a wrench. Go in that room. Boom. Guy's like, huh? Bonk him over the head. Take the key code. And then zoop, you're back. And so it's just like, that's one way you could have done it. Or, all right, I could walk into that room. There's these 3 guards. I can wait until maybe one of them goes on a patrol path, and I could probably take on 2 of them. Could do that. Or if you've got a grenade launcher, okay, launch that into the room. Poof. But now everyone on the ship knows you're there.
So is it supposed to be a stealth game, or is it just a game that you can do whatever you want?
Exactly. It's a do whatever you want game.
Maybe you should be stealth. Maybe you should just go in guns blazing.
Yeah, and it could be situational. What I've chosen to do is like, basically you play, more or less you play until your character fucks up enough that he dies. He gets captured. And there's a cool mechanic where, like, if that character gets captured, if one of your Steam friends owns the game, they can play and have a chance to rescue that character in their game, so you can get them back. That's interesting. Yeah, which is really cool. But more or less, character dies, and so you go back to your space station, you choose a different random one. And what I've chosen to do, just for my own shits and giggles, is that each one has a different way. So, like, I had one character that was named, it was like, what was it? It was like Ocean Horizon. She had blue hair, or he had blue hair. They had blue hair. It was named randomly Ocean Horizon. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I want to be you. So that was, and they were given a concussive gun and a stealth shield. So everything I did was like knockout stealth. But then the next character was just, I was like, okay, well, he had a sword. So I went, all right, he's going to be my murder samurai assassin. He had a katana, basically. So he goes in and he's killing everybody. And it's a game that basically you get into a shitty situation and have to figure your way out of it with the tools at your disposal. Every time you attack, the game slows down to like 0.001% of the speed. So you literally, you see a guy, or if a guy spots you, it'll slow down. And you have all the time in the world to line up your shot. You can also pause the game. You could just outright pause and be like, whoa, all right, how do I want to deal with this? There's 3 guys that just found me. Wait, there's a shotgun on the ship, and I can teleport items on the ship to me if I know that they're there. Teleport shotgun, just poof. There you go. You dealt with that situation.
It's interesting.
It's just whatever the parameters are. It's adaptability of the game, and I love it. I love it.
I'm really interested to get a chance to play it because Tom was gracious enough to get a second one and gave it to me to try.
Yes. Yeah. So it's the kind of game that I love it because you can play it when you've got 2 minutes to spare, or you can play it when you've got, the first time when it launched and I could first play it, I played it for 2.5 hours straight. It's just very quick, very small, little bite-sized stories. Like, and it's a lot about fucking up because I had what's called a concussive hammer. And so I thought, okay, it's a hammer that knocks people unconscious. I want to know how this works. And it's like an impact hammer. So I enter this room, and I'm going through the ship, and I'm using it. I'm like, wow, this is really great. It's knocking people out. You like dash forward, and when you hit the guy, they go flying back like 10 feet, which is just really cool. It's a fun, satisfying feeling. I walked into one room, and there's just one guy. He was the guy with the key card. I was just like, yeah, fine, whatever. Doing as I was. And there's a window on the other side of him.
Oh, no.
And so I flew across the room, hit him. His body flew back, hit the window. Everything inside the ship got sucked out.
It literally, everything?
It vented the whole ship. Just everybody went flying. I went flying out too. Now, here's what happens. If you go flying out of the ship, whether through something like that, or if you get spotted by a guard, what they will do, you always have a chance to recover. If a guard spots you on a ship, they will knock you out. They'll never kill you. They'll knock you out and throw you out the airlock. You can then take your little personal ship, which was docked into their big ship. I apologize. You can undock it, and you see your body flying across space. You can catch up to your body and rescue yourself.
And then go back in?
There's probably, odds are, an alarm counting down now at this point. So it's like, okay, you have 17 seconds to still try and complete this mission if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hit or miss. Now, one of the only complaints I have about the game is that there are some missions that are timed right from the get-go. So it's like, you have 60 seconds to do this whole mission upon accepting it.
So you do accept and then sprint through it?
It's literally accept, sprint, fly, and there's just a little bit, you nasty. There's a little bit of niggliness of docking the ship, because you do have just one spot that's clearly marked on the enemy ship that you have to dock to. What's nice is you're going to miss. You're not going to get it completely correct all the time, especially if you're in a hurry. But if you miss and you hit the enemy ship, you just get this boom and you ding right off of it. Nobody notices. Nothing happens. There's no consequence. You just literally get this really hilarious clunk. Physics knock you back a little bit. So yeah, it's like a mix of Hotline Miami and Deus Ex, Dishonored, the mentality of, okay, I have all of these tools at my disposal. How do I want to use them?
Who knows?
To achieve my mission. Fun, just so satisfying to play. Just everything feels right. All of the physics of it. Hitting a guy with a wrench feels right. Hitting a guy with a concussive hammer feels right. The teleporting is thump, thump. It's very tactile. It feels cool. So, yeah, Heat Signature. Highly, 100% recommend. One of my favorite games of the year. I'm so glad that it came out the way it did. Playing this led me to start playing more of Everspace, which is another space roguelike. I talked about Everspace at length a handful of episodes back, so I'm not going to reiterate too much.
But basically, you talked about it forever.
And as a fan of space games, I could talk about space games forever. It's forever space. I want to be forever space.
Stick to your kind of midday job.
Stick to your career. Stick to whatever is keeping you alive. So Everspace is another roguelike where you're in a spaceship, big 3D space environment. What you do is you warp from basically section to section of space, and what you're trying to do is keep enough fuel, through you warp here. Okay, there's enemies. I can fight them, and one of them will drop fuel. Or, there are asteroids here that I can mine, and you mine them by shooting them. That might get me fuel. Or maybe they won't get me fuel, but they'll get me resources that I can hopefully, at a future jump point, find a fueling station and pay for fuel. Basically, it's just a constant fight to survive. It's kind of like games like FTL, where you're just basically lasting as long as you possibly can. You're not really ever going to hit the end. Maybe you will, and kudos, but it's just let's see how far I get this run. What I really like about Everspace is that actually is part of the story. Every time you die, a new clone of yourself then comes back. So it has all the previous knowledge, which is it's tying gameplay and narrative together in a cool way. It's okay, roguelikes, you're going to die, you're going to respawn. So where Heat Signature is doing something okay, you've died, now there's a new character, just a new person, that you're playing as. Or you get a game like Spelunky, where it's just, okay, now you're starting over. It's still you. It's still your main character. This is literally I can't believe I died. Well, I'm back now in clone number 58, Oh, I can't believe I died. I'm back now in clone 59. So it's one last thing on Heat signature I did want to mention. Basically, you get to a point, especially if you're trying to sneak, like infiltrate a ship, you want to hide bodies because obviously if they're spotted, someone will know something's up. So I had a situation like this is the second SpongeBob reference of the night where he has the Mermaid Man belt and like everyone's coming up to him and he's going and he shrinks him and puts him in the jar. And it's just like everyone in the city shows up. I have had that happen so many times where it's just like a guard comes around the corner. I'm like, attack him. Oh, I got to hide the body. And I throw him into my ship because I know that they'll never go into my ship. And whatever is on your ship, your personal ship, will stay there. So I'll come up to like a future mission and forget and zoom in and realize I have like 28 bodies stacked up, just unconscious guards stacked up in my ship. It's like, oh, what am I going to do with all of these?
Can you just vent them out the airlock?
Probably. It's a game that's like, hey, if you want to try it, go for it. So I like that. But Everspace, certainly more restricted in what it's doing, more focused in what it's doing. But again, it's a roguelike. And I have come to value roguelikes so much because it's just I want to play a game for a few minutes kind of genre. Mm-hmm. But I still heartily recommend Everspace. It's gorgeous and it's fun to play. It's a fun, lightweight ship shooter. It's not going to have, you do have ship physics and inertial dampeners and all that bullshit. But it's not Star Citizen or Elite Dangerous or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But it's the feel of that, so that's cool. What else did I play? Oh!
Remember me?
I remember now.
You remembered what you remembered.
That one was actually unintentional.
Remember me.
I just remembered. I finally finished Remember Me. Now, Remember Me, it's made by Don't Nod, who went on to do Life is Strange, not the current one Before the Storm, but the
sequel to the game Forget You.
Yeah, Forget You. That CeeLo game. So Remember Me is so great. This is going to be one of those games like Sleeping Dogs where I'm like, why aren't more people playing this? Why aren't more people talking about it? Remember Me does have some problems. The combat is butts. It really is. It's butts. It's really butt. I mean, the game's promotional material is the girl's rear end, but the combat itself is really not great. It's okay. It's got a kind of a cool system where you're building your own combos. And I only figured it out really at the end of the game, like how that can be valuable. So you have, combos like, okay, press X 3 times or X, X, Y, X, Y, or things like that. The X's and Y's you pick, and each one has something that's doing. So maybe this X, this particular X will give you a health boost. I'll put that second in the combo. This particular Y will decrease the cooldowns on your special moves. So I'll put that in the combo. So every time I go X, X, Y, it's like attack, health boost, decrease. So that's cool. I only realized at the end of the game, like, oh, wait a minute. I can change these at any time. I'm fighting these guys that are doing a ton of damage to me, but if I make a combo that is just health boosts, I can just smash it like an easy combo, like X, 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 X. I literally just make those all health boosts. It's like, okay, now this is a walk in the park. And that's the problem, is that the game's combat it's hard in the sense that it just takes a lot of hits to kill everything. It's not challenging. It's just uninteresting. So it's like, oh my God, this guy's not dead yet. Oh my God, more of them have shown up. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it just becomes a chore. But the story is great. Blows it out of the oh my God, the design of this world is so up my alley. It is sci-fi meets classical. It is so beautiful. So you have classical Parisian architecture. It takes place in a futuristic Paris. I've talked a little bit about Remember Me in the past. It's like a future Paris with sci-fi cyberpunk, but not cyberpunk in the way of like crap sack cyberpunk. It's like good future cyberpunk. Like, okay, things are fine. Yeah, there's some like shitty underbelly stuff, but it's not a horrible place to live. Usually cyberpunk is like the like, oh, technology sucks and we're all dying. This is kind of like, oh, technology can be good, but it has its faults. Story takes some cool twists. It's just a beautiful cinematic experience. The coolest mechanic of the game is severely underused, and there have been 100,000 articles on this, where you actually go into a person's memory. This only happens like 4.5 times. I say a half because one time is a repeat of an earlier time. You go into a person's memory and you see a sequence play out that's like really important to them, and you can rewind time and find little things to glitch their memory so they remember it differently. So maybe you trying to think of a good example. Maybe you want a person, I'm just pulling this out of my ass. A person thinks that it was their fault that something happened, and you wanted to make it seem like it was an accident instead. So they think, oh, wait a minute, it wasn't their fault at all. I'm sorry, I was mad at you. And so you just change little elements in the environment to affect their memory, which is really cool. And it's not really obvious. So you like have 6 or 7 different things you can change, but it's only the correct combination of like 3 of those things. But it's a cool what if kind of game. Just good fiction, good sci-fi, beautiful to look at. Go play Remember Me. It's probably cheap as hell. It's worth your time. Put it on the easiest difficulty and blast through that combat. It's going to suck, but it's worth it. The other thing that I played last weekend, as we said, was a free weekend for Overwatch.
Something that can't be overlooked.
Something that can't be overlooked. And we had our good friend Kate in chat last week and saying like, hey, let's all play. Okay, cool. So she and I played Overwatch on Friday, and she'd never played before. So we said, okay, let's just do bot matches. And what an interesting experience, because bots are usually, I'm fine with bots, like especially in MOBAs. I'll prefer playing against bots for a myriad of reasons. But in something like Overwatch specifically, bots are fearless. Bots have no strategy, and bots don't stop and plan things. So when you're doing something like a capture point, you just got bots rushing it, and it's just an endless stream. So basically, all you're trying to do is like, you're not going to get a team wipe. You're just trying desperately to hold them off long enough to capture the point, because it's with a typical thing like that, you can't capture the point until all of the enemy team is off it. And they'll just like, one more shows up, because they just bum rush it. So it was interesting, but we had a good time, and it was funny because we played a couple of matches on Friday, and then on Sunday I was like, oh, hey, do you want to play some more? It's still a free weekend. She was like, well, I can't, but actually I ended up buying it. So hopefully this was a story that was told in other households across America, because Overwatch is a great game.
When everyone puts their little children to bed, this is the bedtime story that they will tell them.
Overwatch is still a great game. It continues to be. A year and a half on, it is still a really fun, accessible, plenty of room for mastery and plenty of room for dicking around. So I like Overwatch a lot.
So but everything we do at Addicted to Loot.
Basically. But yeah, it just was interesting to play against bots in an FPS like this and just feel like, I prefer playing against people just because there's more randomness. It's almost like Remember Me. It was, the bots are uninteresting in themselves, but it led us to be more creative and like, okay, how are we going to deal with this? Like, we need to do some like massive stuff. We need to coordinate. So maybe that's the moral of the story. Bots teach you that the real friends are the ones we made along the way.
Bots teach you that you need friends.
Yeah, bots teach you that the real friends are the friends that we coordinated our attacks with on the way.
But then who will be the friends of the bots?
Blade Runner comes out next week. So the last thing that I want to talk about real quick, real short, is a game called Short Trip. And this is just a gorgeous little thing that popped into my Twitter feed and has since been showing up more and more, which is really cool. This gorgeous, really pretty little thing. Hand-drawn. You are a little cat person, and you can get into a trolley, like a rail car, and you can just Blade Runner heart. And you can just ride, and it's just pretty. That's all there is to it. That's literally all I'm saying on it. You can pick up people at one station and then go to the next station and drop them off, but it's just a nice coffee break game. Really appealing to look at, to experience, kind of like things like Samros, but there's no game. It's just an interactive experience. So that's called Short Trip, and like all of these, they will be linked on our website. I'm making the wrong segue because we still have the free game of the week.
Come on, Tom.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Okay.
You're such a noob. So
the Tom Hour will conclude with the free game of the week. Every week we give away a free game here at Addicted to Loot, a game that we think that you guys should go out and play right the heck now. This week's free game is called Back to Bed, which is a game that's been out
since the dawn of time. Here at Addicted to Loot, we are doing a public service announcement reminding you that you should get back to bed and get some good night's sleep, because every day starts with a good night's sleep.
Yes, absolutely. Every day starts with a good night's sleep. I like that. I'm going to use that. So yeah, Back to Bed has actually been out for quite a few years now. I think it came out in like 2013. And this was actually a game I played when I was doing the demo for PS Now last year. It's a game where it's a puzzler. There's a man named Bob, and Bob is a narcoleptic, and he needs to get to bed, and he is walking through these dream worlds, which are just absolutely taken from MC Escher meets Salvador Dali meets the guy who painted the guy with the bowler hat and the green apple in front of his face. It's a combination of those three, and it's an isometric thing. You play Bob's kind of like id or subconscious or something like that, this little dog character with Bob's face. And you use things like green apples and other obstacles and staircases that when you walk up them, now you're walking on the walls. To direct Bob, Bob will always walk forward, and when he hits a barrier, he'll turn to his right. Always walks clockwise. And you're trying to get him by putting these barriers in front of him in the right places or at the right times back into his bed. So it's just a puzzle game, but highly recommended. It's free probably because the developers have just released their latest game, Figment, or are about to release Figment, which is a different game, but a similar kind of thing. Very artsy, very surrealist art. But that's called Back to Bed. It's on Steam, and it's free, and you should play it and then go back to bed because it's very late at night.
Which you never actually do.
This is when I play games. I finish Remember Me at like 5 o'clock in the morning after a whole night, so...
Keep your day job.
That is my day job.
But you can find all this at more...
Sleeping is my day job.
Actually, yeah, you're kind of correct there. I never thought about it that way, but you actually are. And the sad part was, it was his day job back in high school, too, which didn't really work out all that much. But...
I graduated. That's what counts.
Woo! But you can
I can't count real good, though.
You can find all this and more, including Tom's Sleeping Essential, at addictedtoloot.com, where you can find all of our show notes, where we list links to everything that we discussed today, whether it's news pieces or our free game of the week. You can also get our audio versions of this podcast, which are hosted at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can go to our Twitch page, which is twitch.tv/addictedtoloot, which you could come join us live every single week when we post the date and time at which we are going live at our Twitter, which we'll get to in a second.
You guys over there in chat.
Shout out to chat.
You.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping it active, keeping it classy, San Diego. Thank you very much.
Especially you.
So you can join us live every week at our Twitch, but you can also watch old recordings of our podcast also on Twitch. We do save all of our old videos, so please go check us out. You can also get links to our Facebook and YouTube, which are active things. You can get a link to our email, which is addictedtoloot@gmail.com, where you can drop us a contact request, appearance requests, questions, comments, concern, whatever you want. Anything in your little heart you just want to call and say how our day's going. Thank you. We appreciate it, Mom. You can go from there. You can get our group Twitter, which is @addicted2loot. That is the number 2, which we will post all of our Addicted to Loot updates, specifically times at which the stream is occurring, anytime a new podcast goes up, new YouTube videos go up, so on and so forth. You can get our individual Twitter accounts that you can just use to come hang out with us, discuss things with us. Mine is @ATL_Atomic Zero, and his is @Tomality, TOMALITY. And as always, we have been Addicted to Loot. This has been episode 58. And as always,
keep it eucalyptic.
What?